Oh, and like that, we are live on the internet again, like magic.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's going.
I think Sarah told me, and I think this is true, that you are our first ever repeat guest.
Really?
Yes.
Yay.
You are the first person to come back on a second time, which is both fitting and exciting.
Oh, perfect. I like being first at things. Not that I'm competitive or anything, but I do like being first.
I think you're a little like me, and I'm very competitive. So I think
I choose when I'm competitive and when I'm not.
That works. Yeah, I think I'd say the same thing. A lot of things I don't care about, but when I am competitive about something, it's full on. You know?
Well, you also need to know when you can be competitive and when
right.
You shouldn't be. So.
There are things that I am not competitive in. You would beat me in a 5K for sure, but other things I might do all right in. Bob Pratt says hi. Hey, Bob Pratt.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Bob Pratt's one of my favorite humans.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of that guy. He's speaking of people who get my weird sense of humor, he's one of them.
He's a good guy.
He is. So I was just talking about your background, which I think is really cool.
You like it? Yes.
I do.
You want me to tell you about it?
I would love you to tell you. Yes.
Okay. Well, so what is behind me is the pieces of the Water Safety with Colin and Friends curriculum, which is our curriculum that is classroom-based, can be paired with swim lessons or standalone in a classroom, and it's dry land water safety education for ages 3 to 7, but it's very flexible. So we can go a little bit younger with certain pieces, and we can go older with other pieces. So what you have here, and we can talk as much or as little about it. This is a water safety relay game. Think Twister, but with water safety.
Okay.
And bean bags. And then this here, which I'm sure I'm going to knock all this down as soon as I do this, is the main tenets of the curriculum, which is the whole hand rules. And so these are all Velcroed on here. So it's designed perfectly for the preschool aged and up to first grade. And it's fun for older kids too. But we teach 5 rules to water safety. Kids know rules and kids know the hand. And so it's a simple way to teach them how to be safer around water before they even go to the water. So like I said, we love to put it with swim lessons when we can, but that's not always possible. Transportation and costs and things like that are challenging, but this can go into any type of classroom or camp setting. We partner with the Zach Foundation, which I think you know them. They do water safety camps with Boys and Girls Clubs, and they utilized our curriculum this year to go alongside their curriculum. We've been using it with the YMCA here in Austin and San Antonio when we pair it with swim lessons, and we're working with multiple preschools and schools and camps to just get it to as many children and families. And the coolest part about it, because I am an evaluation nerd, I believe in doing programs that work and making sure that they work. And if they don't work, you change things so that they do work and you make impact. And we have evaluated this program. She was a PhD student at the time. Now it's Dr. Kelly Frendell, but she did her entire dissertation on evaluating this curriculum. So to see, are we really changing things? We found with statistical significance that we are in fact raising kids' water safety knowledge with this curriculum. And then when you partner it with swim lessons, we're increasing their swimming skills as well. So to our knowledge, there's not a lot out there in drowning prevention in terms of curriculum that's evidence-based and researched. And we've done it because we want to make sure we're actually making an impact, because why do you want to do things that are not impacting, right? So anyway, I'm really excited. At some point, I can give you a tour of all the materials. We've got tons of stuff. Water safety bingo, which we've had for years, but it's now freshened up. And this little guy, our character of Colin with his friend Buddy the Seal, we decided that we needed a little character to interact with kids, and he's gotten rave reviews. So anyway, that's what's behind me, because I'm really excited about it. And we're moving out of the summer and some of our summer messaging and into trying to get this into as many schools and places as humanly possible.
So I'm curious about the methodology you used to determine effectiveness. Sure. And did you change anything? So did she, through the process of analyzing it, were there things you found that got better?
Sure. So we did pre and post surveys. So we surveyed kids before they had any intervention. So before they had any of the curriculum at all. And there's kind of a funny story, because the first time that we piloted it, we did not realize that the children that were coming were all Spanish speakers. And so we had a script in English to do the surveys. And so quickly we got one of the teachers one of the students' teachers who did speak really great Spanish, much better than ours or our evaluation team. And she recorded voice memos, recorded the script in Spanish on a voice memo. We played it back to the kids. That was our very first, oh my gosh, we didn't think that through. So that was the first time. But since then, over the last couple of years, we've been continuing to evaluate it. And we changed some things. We definitely tightened up some of the messaging. For example, in the first round of the curriculum, there was a question that asked kids if when they got to a gate, should they open it or close it, or should an adult open it or close it? In the pictures, we were using pictorial surveys because the kids were 4 and most of them couldn't read, or some of them didn't speak English. So the pictures were confusing, and so they were not understanding the pictures. So we changed some of the pictures in the surveys. We had a question where it asked them, what's the safest thing you can use to help you float if you can't swim? So we had a picture of a child. I should have the surveys, but we had a picture of a child with water wings, which we know are not a choice that we want them to make. We had a picture with a child with a noodle, pool noodle, which is again one we did not want them to choose. And then we had a child wearing a life jacket, and we realized that the noodle, the wings, and the water wings and the life jacket weren't a different color, so the kids were not focusing in on those pieces of the picture. So the next round of surveys, we changed them. So all the water wings, the noodles, and the life jacket were all red, for example, on the children. So we did a lot in changing just the methodology. And then certainly when we looked at the results, we focused and tightened up the curriculum. And that's how we ended up with these five specific rules and changed it to something that would really resonate with the kids. And teachers are used to teaching rules. Kids are used to learning rules. So we use the evaluation to inform certainly the changes in the program and then how we roll that out. So we're incredibly excited about it. This is something that I feel can really help us move the needle on both educating kids about how to be safer around water and about developing safer water safety behaviors from the ground up. And at the same time, there's a parent education piece. So all the parents, we do parent orientations, but we also you've seen these before. This is our Water Guardian badge and with water safety tips, and parent information goes home with the kids when they're in the program. Not only just that, but then half sheets we learned this today and here's how you can practice it at home. So we're trying to bridge that, get the kids' education out of the water and then get the parents' education as well. And then when we can put the swim lessons in, it's a beautiful thing. We can't, logistically, sometimes the swim lessons piece isn't possible. But this started out as an 8-day program that we did in partnership with the YMCA here in Austin. Half of the kids that would come would go to swimming lessons and the other half would stay in the gym and do the curriculum, and then they would switch halfway through. So they got 8 days in a row. We've now tightened it up where you can do it as an 8-day model. So there's 8 lessons that are about 15 to 20 minutes long. You can make them as long as you want. But now we have it where you can do it in 5 days. If you only have 1 day, you can do lesson number 1, which is the basic rules. So it can stand alone in a variety of settings. And so we're really excited about it. It's on our website. We've got some testimonial videos from a superintendent of schools, a teacher, some swim instructors, and some of our partners, both at Miss Tristan Foundation, who I think you've met, Joe Bird, who lost his daughter Tristan. So we're doing this program in partnership with them in San Antonio, which is just down about an hour away from us here in Austin. So it's exciting. I mean, this is where we feel like we can really make a difference in saving lives with education, and education that works. And we will keep evaluating it to keep making it better. So I guess excited is even an understatement, because when this stuff was rolling, we were literally at the printer when this stuff was rolling off the press. And there's some Facebook Lives out there, I'm sure, that you could dig up, and it was like kids in a candy store or something, watching this stuff come out.
That's really cool. And I think you've done a really good job with it. So go ahead and take me through the tour.
Oh, okay. Well, so we talked about this, which this is lesson 1. Well, let me start back. We'll put that there for a second. This is, and we have it in English and Spanish. So I don't know if you can see these, but these are a curriculum guide for instructors. So it used to be in a binder, and there was like a ton of information, and there will be videos that go alongside this. So if you were teaching this, for example, in a classroom, in a preschool, or at a camp, you would get this. On one side, it tells you day by day. Let's see, I'll do it in English for, my Spanish is good, but not that good. So it's color coded. So day 1, this is lesson 1, lesson 2 is yellow, lesson 3, lesson 4 goes down to lesson 8. And then on the back, everything is color coded. So for example, this is a song, Wait for a Grown Up, because that's one of the very first day, the very first whole hand rule is wait for a grown up. So that, let's see, this goes with the yellow here. So yellow corresponds with yellow. So it's all color coded, really teacher friendly. And our program director, Jessica Brown, that is her background. She's in early childhood education, and this was her baby to make this thing as user friendly as possible. So they get this. And then there's also, we'll just pretend that we're doing the first lesson. So all of these things come off, right? So preschoolers love to stick things on things. So the first one,
I love to stick things on things.
I do too, right? I know. So they first put the whole hand rules on there, which this comes off. And then the first rule is wait for a grown up. And when we try to teach kids, do not go near the water. Don't go around the water without a grown up. So we have our little icon here, and these match up with the icons that are on our water safety bingo game, which comes later, and on the water safety relay game that's here. So it all builds on each other. The second rule is learn to swim. When we talk about how important it is to learn to swim, take swimming lessons, swim with an adult, and swim where there are lifeguards whenever possible. So we get those messages into the kids. This is the third rule, is wearing life jackets. And we talk about the importance of wearing life jackets and not using water wings and pool noodles and those sort of things. And on this one, we have an activity, which I think I can thank the U.S. Coast Guard for it, but it's called Orange You Like to Float. I don't know if you've ever seen that activity where you put in one of those little cutie oranges in water, and if it's in its peel, then the peel, we say, is like their life jacket, then
Nice.
It floats. If you take the peel off, what happens, Eric? What do you think happens?
I'm guessing it sinks.
It sinks. So we talk about, if you're not a competent swimmer, if you haven't learned to swim, that a life jacket can keep you floating. And that's also a science experiment. And so it times up where we can. We have this curriculum timing up with, here in Texas, it's called the TEKS, which it's the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. It matches up with standardized testing objectives that teachers need. So this is attractive to pre-K teachers because we have it matched up with the things that they need to do for their classrooms anyways. Let's see. And then the fourth day, we go really heavy into grown-ups should be watching you. And we'll talk about the concept of the water guardian later, because I want to talk about that. And so again, these are all things that are on our water safety bingo game. And then the fifth day is stay away from drains. And thanks to our friends at the Zach Foundation, Abby's Hope, we worked on our drain messaging there. So we just teach kids to stay away from drains. That's the simplest message. In a later lesson, we focus more on drains, and they go into things like, what can you do? Tie your hair back. Don't wear swimsuits that have strings, the drain safety. So each day, as we move forward through the curriculum, goes deeper into these. But the first day, the first lesson, is all about these 5 rules. So for example, if you only had an hour to do in a classroom or something like that, you could just do this lesson, and you will communicate all of these water safety messages to kids. I did it in first grade. I was asked to do a career day at an elementary school. And so I had first graders. I'm like, I'm going to test this out on them. So I had 20 minutes, and I of course needed to talk about career day and what I do, because that's the whole purpose, but I was not going to miss the opportunity to talk about water safety. So I modeled this with first graders to see, did they love it? Did they get into it? And they loved it. And I did it in 10 minutes with first graders, and they were, putting all the things on the board. And so that was great. So that's the first lesson, and probably the one that stands alone if you need to by itself. We have the second day is a learn to swim day, and we have this chart, and all these little icons are for all the charts. So this is they talk more about, this is how to swim. So they talk about, waiting for a grown up. If you're not a competent swimmer, wearing life jackets. This is the one, I don't know where this little icon is. Here it is. Talks about don't open gates and having the importance of having fences that lock and close and latch and all of that. This one is a grown-up should be watching you. And we really, and you'll see me talk about it throughout this entire interview, and everything that I say is having an adult water guardian who's watching you. And then here is the, learning how to swim and taking swim lessons. So that's the learn to swim chart. Then I talked about how we go into drains. This is the drain safety chart, and we have more. There's an extension. I didn't talk about this. We talk about open water. So when we're in places where we have, like here in Austin, we have lots of lakes and rivers. So we talk about open water safety rules. So you can sub this out. When I went to Honduras for my swim mission, where I taught water safety and swim lessons, I used this icon a lot because obviously we were at the ocean. So we have rules, we have extensions and things to make this flexible, which is kind of exciting. This is, again, back to the drains. This is the drain chart. I don't know where all these icons are. This is hard to do without a personal, assistant. But anyway, it's a Venn diagram, which teachers love because, that's a classroom thing. And so this is kind of like, what can adults do to stay safer, to keep kids and people safer around drains, and what can kids do, and then what can everyone do? So that's awesome. Let's see, what else do I have here? So this one, I don't want to move these because then my backdrop will go away. But this is our water safety relay. We have bean bags these are the icons that the kids have learned. And so it's a race. So you line up 2 lines of kids and they throw a bean bag. And each of these rules has a hand motion. So for example, stay away from drains is this. Learn to swim is this. Have a grown-up watching you is this. So they have to throw a bean bag and say it lands on this one, grown-up should watch you. They have to do the hand motion, and then they run to get the bean bag, and then they give it to their friends. So it's a relay race. And then we've had this for years, but it just got a refresher, our water safety bingo game, which again, this goes back into all of these things that they've been learning. We added on this one, see if I can do this backwards, no diving. So we talk about not diving, especially, here where we are, the lakes are not constant level. So diving into water that you don't know how deep it is not a great idea. And this is where we have the open water rules here, the gates. So we have bingo. And let's see what else. I love this, and this is in Spanish, so we'll see. Sorry about this, but when we talk about life jackets, we have rules. We say that life jackets should fit tight like a hug. So this is the hand motion for life jackets, and they should, all the buckles should be closed. And so we teach them 3 rules of life jackets. So it goes through, again, it can be 8 days or 8 lessons. We used to talk about in days. I'm supposed to be talking about it in lessons now. But we can go 8 lessons, or if you only have 1, you can pick and choose. So it's really flexible, and we're just trying to get it out there to as many people and schools as humanly possible. We're about to start a little sort of sponsor a curriculum where people can, so say your child or your grandchild goes to a preschool and you want that preschool to have this curriculum, you can purchase the curriculum from Colin's Hope, and we will get it there, and it's your gift to the school, and the whole entire school can use it. So this, I'm kind of excited. I don't know if you can see these, see if I can do this. These are our bingo chips. We have these like little bingo chips that have water safety with Colin and friends. And there's a company here in Texas that makes all wooden nickels. Who knew, right? So anyway, so that's the curriculum. There's videos, and all the training will be done either for teachers will either be done via webinar or videos. So when we're in person, we love to do personal trainings, but we're here in Austin and we want this thing to go wherever. So that's that. There's your tour.
That's really fantastic. I mean, it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I don't think there is anything on that scale even close.
Right. And it's simple. That's the thing we were going with, is simple. What can kids learn and remember? And what then can we translate? So the sheets that go home to parents, talk to them about what they can do at home to continue the message and continue the lessons. So we're pretty excited about it. And it's just going to keep, we've got we work with our Safe Kids chapters here, and Safe Kids Tarrant County is getting multiple sets to loan out to their member. Is that me?
No, it's go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. So we're just getting it out there. Again, we're doing it in Austin, San Antonio, and beyond. So
That's really, really cool. So what happens so school's already started for most people.
Right.
You know, if I want this at my kid's school, how does that happen?
You can go to our website. That's probably the easiest way. And there's a contact form and talk to us. I mean, there's some different pricing structures for, nonprofit partners, or we have a Families United to Prevent Drowning partner. We've got different things if you buy multiple. So for example, if you wanted to buy 10 for every preschool in your area, we would obviously do the cost so that it's a multi-pricing discount. And so our website, there's on our homepage, I think it's under water safety education. You can go there and look at it, and we'll talk to each person individually while we can to figure out what works best. There's a camp model, so it's a little bit, it's not all of the lessons, but and then there's the full program, and you can also purchase the lessons independently. So of course we want everyone to have it all, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, actually, and Lori Sarami,
I see her.
She's asked how much it costs to sponsor a preschool.
Yeah, so go on Lori, go on the website, because there's multiple pricing options, and obviously we work together with Lori in the Swim for Elise Foundation, and I know she goes into preschools and reads the Clifford book, and so I want her using this, so we'll work it out, but so it's the pricing structures on the website, and then we'll work with people. This is going to become an earned income stream for Colin's Hope too, so we can use it as a sustaining way to fund the work that we do 365 days a year also. So it's pretty exciting.
It's really cool. And, as the school year starts in fall, which is kind of when the summer is wrapping up, and you're talking about what you do for the rest of the year. And this plays right into it, It does.
It allows us to have something that we can do before the heavy swimming season comes. I mean, here in Texas, you can swim almost all year round. But what we do is we roll from the summer messaging, which is all about you're going to water now, you're at the beach, you're at the pool, you're at the lakes, and getting in people's faces about drowning is fast, drowning is silent, drowning is preventable. Here's what you can do, distributing, 75,000 of these. Then we move into, we still do that, and we still keep that message going, but we move into, okay, how do we get this for example, into the schools, so that when they're in the colder times, they can be doing this in the classroom and be preparing for the next season. It's a really nice, it's a nice sort of filler in the time when people are not necessarily thinking about water safety, because I'm sure you're in Florida, correct? Am I right? Yep. So you have the same thing that we do here in Texas. I mean, we see drowning sadly all year round. I know right now in Texas, we're at 74 fatal child drownings this year. And last year we ended the year at 75. So we have to keep this. And we've had all kinds of water. We've had 9 bathtubs and 8 ponds and lots of backyard pools and community pools and hotel pools. And so we just have to keep this going. So this is a way to do it during that time. And it gives teachers in the classroom simple things that they can do. A 10-minute lesson, add it into a day when you've got some downtime. So we're excited about it. I can't wait to see how far we can get this thing to go to really save lives.
Yeah, and obviously the more schools it's at, the bigger impact you can have, and hopefully teachers latch onto it as part of a curriculum.
Well, and then we have a testimonial on the video that's of a teacher who taught it in San Antonio in her classroom. And she does a really good job of explaining the impact that she sees with the kids as she's teaching it. They're trying on life jackets and they're learning this. And we talk to kids about, I want to move into the water guardian thing that I want to talk about. One of the big things, and you'll see like I'm drinking coffee out of my Be a Water Guardian coffee mug. And we actually have Greater Goods, which is a local coffee roaster, just made the Water Guardian coffee. I'm going to send you some, by the way. But we're talking to kids about having an adult water guardian. And we teach them that. And that's something that we keep that message going. And I want to talk about why we chose almost 10 years ago to use the term water guardian instead of water watcher. It's a mindful decision. You'll see lots of groups have water watcher tags, and that's great because it's encouraging people to watch the water when kids are near or around the water. But we chose to use water guardian because we're trying to say to people, you need to be a water guardian all the time. It's not just when your kids or your family is around water, because water is always there. So for example, if you have a backyard pool, just because you're not by the pool, out by the pool, in the pool, that water is still there. right? So the term water guardian implies for us, or we're actually trying to just say it, is that you need to train yourself as an adult and train your kids from the beginning. The kids need to have a water guardian who is an undistracted adult, and adults need to be water guardians. So that's all the time. Always having good water safety behaviors, whether that's you're at the lake or you're at the backyard pool or the community pool, or even when you're getting ready to give your child a bath. It's knowing how to be safer around water and doing that. So it just becomes natural. Just like when you put your seatbelt on in the car, or you put I mountain bike race. So when I put a helmet on my head, as soon as I get on that bike, I just do it. And that's what we're trying to get with water safety. And I feel like we're getting closer to having that be how we're training people. And again, it's because we're talking to kids and we're talking to adults. So it's, in essence, it's this, I think I talked about the last time, it's this culture of water safety and building a better culture of water safety. So it's, people are not thinking, oh, that's not something I need to think about. It's something that we all need to think about. Because if you ask any parent who's lost a child to a drowning or almost lost a child to a drowning, they would probably tell you that they didn't think that that was going to happen to them either. But it did. And so in an effort to just build a better, safer culture of water safety, that's why we're pushing this water guardian term. It's not about just watching the water. It's about guarding your family, your kids, yourself from the water. I mean, I love the water. We love the water. The other side of my coffee cup says, have the best day ever, right? You know, that's our thing. And we want people to love the water, but there's things that they can do to be safer. So I teach kids, when I'm talking to kids, I tell them, I'm going to ask you to do this respectfully, but if you're at the water and your adult is not watching you, if they're watching their phone or they're talking to other people and there's not someone who is being a water guardian, I'm giving you permission to respectfully ask them to watch you. And it empowers kids too, to call out adults to be safer around water. So that's something that if anyone watching, if any of your kids get a presentation from Alissa, they will probably call you on it if you're not being a good water guardian.
And so you know, it makes me think of the idea for shifts for water watchers.
Yep.
You know, a water guardian is all the time, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of times we do water watchers in shifts, right? You want 15 minutes for this one person. So can you do both?
They can still be that, right? You can be both. I mean, you can be a water guardian all the time, but you can be the appointed water guardian while you're on your shift. You know, so it's the same thing. I mean, our water guardian badge still breaks out of here, you know, and you put it around your wrist. The same concept, but it's more about not just having people think about this when they're at the water. Right. It's like you need to be a water guardian all the time. And yes, when you're at the pool, assign an adult who is the water guardian of the moment, the specific water guardian. But it's really about keeping this in front of people all the time. We can't just talk to people when they are around water. We'll never change the culture. I mean, we never will.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I'll agree with that 100%.
So I was happy to see when Levi's legacy, I'm sure you've seen Nicole Hughes, who lost her son Levi. She created, immediately after Levi's drowning in June, she created water guardian tags as well. And I was so happy to see that. I reached out to her and said, I'm glad that you're using that term too. That's the term that we use. So let's both of us use it and push this, because I really do feel like it's a different, it's just a different mindset, or at least it's the mindset that we're pushing. So you'll see Colin's Hope with everything water guardian. Our shirts, my coffee mug says I'm a water guardian, but our car wrap on the hood says be a water guardian. And so anyway, I'm going to challenge everybody to be a water guardian. One of the ways that people can do that is go take our water safety quiz online. I'll give a little plug for that. Online at colinshope.org/quiz. Simple 10 questions. You can't fail it. You take a question. If you get it wrong, it'll give you a hint and pass you on to the next question. Then you can share it on social media, and you can see we have what's called a water guardian wall on our website, and you can see all the different zip codes that people have taken the quiz. So we know that we've had close to 6,000 people take it in at least 29 different countries and a gazillion zip codes. So it's pretty cool to see it go far and wide, and it's in English and Spanish. So that's another way people can be a water guardian, is to raise their water safety knowledge, increase it.
I love your quiz. The only thing I don't like about your quiz is I wish I'd thought of it first.
I know we still haven't talked about the other idea that we're going to do. All right, I promise we'll talk about that after this, because
that has to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Awesome. So what else do you have going on?
Let's see. We just got through our kids triathlon. We just got through our 10K swim in Lake Austin, which Bob, proud if you're still there, and Lori. Okay, yeah. Lori and Bob, you both need to come do that swim next year. I'm calling you out on it because we've talked about it. And then we also Colin's Hope just reached the 10-year anniversary last month. So in August of the organization. Colin drowned in June of 2008. So that was the 10-year. We acknowledged the 10-year anniversary of his drowning in June. And then in August, we celebrated 10 years as an organization whose sole mission is to raise water safety awareness to prevent drowning. So we just had a party at a local ice cream shop, Nadamu, and we had about 100 of our supporters came and got free ice cream on us and from our partners at Nadamu, and just really celebrated the impacts that we've made in Central Texas and beyond in drowning prevention. We've got work to do all year round. We're part of the Texas Drowning Prevention Alliance, and obviously part of the National Drowning Prevention Alliance, and Families United to Prevent Drowning, and all these groups, Safe Kids, really just trying to work with whomever we can to collaborate. This is why I said I'm not always competitive, because I am cooperative and collaborative. But we're working, during the sort of downtime, which is not really a downtime, to just keep this message going and work with as many people as we can, as many partners, to say, okay, moving into the next season, how can we work with more partners to get this message out louder? I mean, we have billboards that are still up all over Central Texas. We took out ads on school buses that are the same message: drowning is fast, silent, and preventable. And down south in San Antonio, the Miss Tristan Foundation took out, we used similar messaging as they did on their billboards. So we're just going to keep on pounding the pavement and focusing on, again, getting this curriculum out and as far and wide during this time, and planning for the ramp up of, what are we going to say in the coming year? Here in Texas, again, we work with Department of Family and Protective Services to analyze the fatal drowning data daily. So we know that we are still seeing so many, almost 60% of our fatal child drownings in Texas are in pools. So we have to keep that pool messaging, but we had 9 ponds. What is that about? How do we message around pond safety? Because we need to. Or 9 bathtubs. We need to keep that going. So that's where we are at this time in the year, as we move out of some of the event specific stuff and move into the just refining the message so that it's applicable, building our partnerships, stewarding our partnerships, and just keep on going. There's really not a break for us in this drowning prevention world.
No, I think you're kind of like we are. We advertise nationally. We have dealers all over the country, and we were talking about the coming, summer's over, moving into fall, and someone on our team, eloquently stated that it's always summer somewhere. Right. It's still summer in Florida right now. It's as hot as bejesus outside right now.
We're still close to the hundreds.
Yeah, absolutely. So even in December, it's summer somewhere. So there's always, people that we can be reaching out to who are still using the pool
and taking vacations. That's
taking vacations.
That's messaging that we do year round. It says you move into the winter holidays, people go on vacations when you get to spring break. For us, that's when it really starts. We lost 3 kids to fatal drownings over spring break this year. So for us, our messaging is just, you change the message a little bit based on what's going on, and it has to be an applicable message. But we just, we keep going. And you're right, it is summer somewhere, or it's someone's going to water all the time.
And in Florida, we have a thing probably just like Texas, whereas the weather cools down and it finally gets nice out, that's when people open their windows and their doors. Right. And, you're not thinking about the pool because you're not going in it, but you've now allowed access. And, we always try to hit that in the fall and winter time also. Right.
That's a good point. I just saw also, there's cold water. I just saw a very sad, tragic story of a family who I think a father and 3 kids drowned, and the mom survived, and they were hypothermic. They were I think they were in a kayak, a tandem kayak, or must have been 2 tandem kayaks, because I can't imagine they would have had that many people on one, but that it capsized and the water was cold. I mean, that's a thing year round. I mean, here in Texas, people are on our lakes all year round. It doesn't matter what the air temperature is. And so that's where our life jacket messaging also happens, and our safety on boats. So yeah, this doesn't stop. I mean, people, I think that's something we have a hard time communicating with people. I don't know if you do, but it's, this is not just a summer message. I think that's the assumption for a lot of people is, oh, well, your busy time is just from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Did I get that right? Yeah. Memorial Day to Labor Day. And for us, it's not. Same for you, especially in these states that sadly are also leading the country in the number of drownings, and fatal and non-fatal. We've started doing more work with some of our non-fatal drowning survivor families here, and helping get their stories out there, because what the estimated number is that for every fatal drowning, there's 5 non-fatal drownings, and those are stories they're all preventable. So how do we work with those families and get those stories out there also? Oh, one more thing. I don't want to forget about this. I don't want to forget. I mentioned Nicole Hughes, and obviously Bodie and Morgan Miller. They're doing a lot of work around working with the American Academy of Pediatrics to really ramp up pediatricians talking about water safety during every, well child visits for sure, but talking about that, because a lot of people, their first entry point when they have a baby, or before they're even having a baby, is their doctor, and it's a trusted person. And so we're going to support the work that they're doing on that here in Texas as well. The Texas Drowning Prevention Alliance, that's been a focus of TXDPA, is working with pediatricians, and that's something that, at least from Colin's Hope, we're supporting that effort and really reaching out. Colin's pediatrician, Dr. Ari Brown, she wrote Baby 411 and Toddler 411, and she was on our board. She has also agreed to be a partner in getting that message out, to raise have pediatricians. They have to talk about a lot of things, but they are a first entry point for people when they have kids. So they're a conduit that we can get to parents early by working through the pediatrician. So I'm excited to help do some work around that both here in Austin and Central Texas, and Texas as a whole and beyond, because I think that's a really valid, you can't just focus on reaching parents or kids in one place, but you can certainly, pediatricians, and for us, it's schools and daycare centers. I mean, where are the kids, where are the parents, and let's work collaboratively to get the message to those places. So, and obviously we work year round with people in the pool industry like yourself, that you guys are in people's backyards and you're in front of people all the time. So, this is the work that we do. I think it's interesting for people. I hope people are watching, because I don't know if people really know all the work that drowning prevention organizations do. And, organizations may have one of the thing that's their wheelhouse, or the thing that they do most of the time, but we're doing a lot of different things, and trying to support each other to have a bigger, louder voice there.
I feel like I bring up this pediatrician survey that Carrie Morrison did every time I talk about water safety now, because pediatricians are in their narrative now, which I think is really cool.
Yep. And
I think her survey came around right at the right time. And it reported that only 15% of parents had been talked about, where pediatricians had talked about water safety with them, which I had thought it'd be low, but not 15% low.
Yeah. And I have to look at the survey, but yeah, I think it's pediatricians I think that they have been working on it. I don't think that this is a brand new thing, but I think it's time to ratchet it up. I know Dr. Brown was my daughter's pediatrician, and we talked about it. And I don't know if that was because she was Colin's pediatrician, and so that's something that's on her radar, but it's definitely something that I think they've been doing work in the pediatricians, but I think now it's we're going to ratchet it up. And I'm going to, thank Nicole Hughes and the Millers for sort of pushing that forward and going with that. And we've been talking about how can we support those efforts and really bring them into the equation even more. I mean, they do have to talk about a lot of things. Think of all the things that people talk about, but drowning is the #1 cause of unintentional death for children under 5. Then talk about it.
Right. I mean,
over and over again.
Yeah, we make sure we have car seats. We make sure that they, we're doing SIDS and they don't have blankets and pillows and, bumpers. Everybody's got that stuff, right? But for some reason, water safety gets left out. And I think we're doing a good job on the doctor side of fixing that.
Yep. And I think here's something I would love to, I listen to a lot of some nonprofit radio shows that are here in Austin on Sunday mornings. And I always hear really, really great ads from the National Ad Council. So here's my plea to the National Ad Council. I don't even know, I haven't even done any research on this, but for them to do a water safety ad, something really, really good and really, really powerful. I think it's time that we take the megaphone and we turn it on everyone with this water safety message and hit it from all angles. It's the pediatricians, it's media, it's anything that we can, because it is something that we have to talk about. And I don't know why it hasn't gotten as much coverage as other things in the past, but now's the time. And there's so many of us, yourself and Colin's Hope and all the organizations that we work with that are lined up to just be louder and do programs that work, which is why I'm so, proud of the Water Safety with Colin and Friends, because it's a program that works. And why wouldn't you do something that works? And so that's what in the drowning prevention world, we need to keep doing things that work and evaluate what we're actually doing and see what works. Stop doing the things that are not working, or stop doing things that we just do them over and over again and we don't know if they work, and spend the time to evaluate them and then keep doing them and push those out. So I think it's an exciting time for water safety and drowning prevention. At least I've been in this almost 10 years now with Colin's Hope, and to see where we were, I know at Colin's Hope, looking at our materials from 10 years ago and then looking at what we have now, there's an evolution that's a really beautiful process. I got to spend all day yesterday talking to people that work for different YMCAs across Texas and Oklahoma, and share some of our tools with them and talk to them about how we can collaborate better with YMCAs to get this message out, because we do some of that and we want to do more. And it's an exciting time for drowning prevention. I don't know if you feel that in the pool industry, but I really think it is from our side. Yeah,
I mean, I'm more in the, I would say, pool safety industry than just pool industry, right? Yeah, because all we do is fences. And barriers and alarms and pool safety stuff, but no, I agree completely. It's kind of there's a groundswell happening, and I'm glad that we're surfing it. It seems like a good time to be doing this, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, and we were swimming upstream salmon style for so long, so it feels nice to kind of at least be going flat for a while.
Right. And for me and for Colin's Hope and for all the families that we work with, this is about honoring the children that we've lost and almost lost to drownings. And so I want to the work that we're doing is creating a legacy for these kids and for their families. And so it's that important. And I feel like in their honor that we have to keep this and keep it going, keep it loud, keep it in front of people. And it really is, I think Lori's still listening. So for Elise and for Colin and for Connor and for Tristan and for Zach and Joshua and Joshua and Christian, all of the kids, this is why we're doing this.
And year round, right? And even within our own industry, I think we kind of back off in the fall and winter time. I had a friend of ours, actually, she was supposed to come on and had to reschedule. And we were trying to figure out a date. And she sent me an email and she said, I know that we're out of season now. So if you don't want to have me on, I can come back next summer. And I wrote her back. I said, no, I'm good. You can come back whenever. It can be December. I don't have a season. So,
Yep.
you're still applicable in the fall.
Well, and you're helping to keep that message going all year round. I think that's so important. I'm going to I have a t-shirt press. I'm going to make myself a shirt that says it's like always water season or something like that.
Yeah. I like the, it's always summer somewhere, which was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can you see the comments? Cause I can't see them.
I can see some. Yeah. So,
anybody said anything interesting?
Yeah. Bob Pratt says he's going to start using Water Guardian
Yay, Bob. I'll send you a Water Guardian hat and a mug and some coffee, Bob.
Actually, it's all Bob Pratt. Bob Pratt also says that we are gaining momentum and collaboration is key. And he loves us both, and Jermaine and Matt and Andy and everybody. And he's just encouraging everybody. So, yeah, it's mainly Bob.
Go, Bob, with your stuff that he's doing with the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. I see they're doing tons of great work with Lake Michigan and up in that area. And I know they have different challenges than we have here in Texas, but I love to see Bob and his crew doing amazing work. So I think it's good to give him a shout out since he is pumping us up here.
No, he's good, and they do great stuff. And he's going to come on this eventually. He is resistant to doing it.
Why?
I don't know. Ask him, but I keep asking him. He's like, yeah, sure, one day.
Yeah, soon, Bob. It's fun.
It is. It's a good time, and I don't bite hard, so not unless he asks, which is what it is. So, anything else that you want to tell people before we wrap up?
Oh, just remember, drowning is fast, drowning is silent, drowning is preventable. Go take our quiz. Check out the Water Safety with Colin and Friends curriculum on our website. We've got tons of resources. Just help us keep this message going. I really do think that we can model good water safety behavior in our own lives and encourage others to do so. Talk about it. I mean, I think that's raising this conversation and amplifying the conversation is huge. But thank you, Eric, for letting me come on again and do my little show and tell. And I appreciate what you're doing, and just keep doing it.
Thank you. And we will talk about our idea. That's going to happen.
Yes. And again,
it's going to happen. It's the best day ever.
Yes. All right.
Thank you, Alissa. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
Everybody who watches, you guys rock. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Later, guys.